Hello and blessings. This is Pastor Elaine White with Trinity Fellowship Church here for you in 2021. Wow, we made it into a new year with bells and whistles. We thank God for this brand new year. And I just want to talk to you about faith for miracles in 2021. You know, so many times we end a year and we enter into the new year with great expectation. Well, this year we've had a lot going on, haven't we? We've had some difficulties in 2020 and we've had some real blessings in 2020. And so, in a lot of ways, at least for me, for this year, it's not as though there's a clear demarcation. It's like there's things from 20 spilling over into 2021. And so I want to just encourage you to look at 2021 with great expectation, having faith in the miracles of God. When you look in the book of Exodus, the 14th chapter, and I'm going to be talking about that because there's been a lot of prophetic words in this season that going from 2020 to 2021, that we are in a Red Sea crossing moment. And I've been so fascinated by that. And I've spent a good bit of time reading the book of Exodus, specifically chapter 14. And I encourage you to do that and to just look at the miracle of what God did. You know, the children of Israel were delivered out of slavery in Egypt, and that happened, the narrative is in chapter 12. And so they're delivered at the time of the Passover. And they put the blood of the lamb over the doorpost of their doors. And the Egyptians, the firstborn in the Egyptians' family, are struck by death. But the Israelites are not, because God's protection is over them. And then they leave Egypt with silver and gold. Pharaoh finally says yes. He calls Moses and Aaron and tells them to get out because of the plagues, because of the death of the firstborn in the Egyptian households. And so God sets them free by a mighty deliverance in a way that only God could. And for us, that's the way 2020 has happened. You know, there's been so much talk about the virus, different political issues, different issues going on in the nation. But the Lord has taken us through the year, and we're continuing in faith. Our faith has not changed. We're continuing to believe God for miracles, for the Red Sea crossing. And so when you look at those old movies with Charleston Heston and some of the Hollywood movies about the crossing of the Red Sea, it always seems, because they have a limited amount of time to work with, that the children of Israel went directly from Passover into crossing of the Red Sea. But actually there's a scene in between in chapter 14 in which the Lord has the children of Israel camp for a while after they've come out of Egypt. And they are there and they are resting in that camp area. And the Lord tells Moses that he's going to harden Pharaoh's heart and that Pharaoh's going to come after the children of Israel. And this is exactly what happens. You know, after they've been delivered, they've gotten through that difficult time. You see where I'm going with this, trying to draw the parallels. We've come through a difficult time in 2020. We're here. We don't know what's going to go forward ahead of us, but we're in great expectation. And that's how the children of Israel were. They were camped there. And then it was as if Pharaoh all of a sudden decided, why did we do that? Why did we let there was over 600,000 men plus women and children that were part of the children of Israel, and they had been released. They were slaves. They had provided labor. They had provided basically slave labor for the Egyptians. And all of a sudden Pharaoh decided, no, we're going after them. We're going after them. And he had them put together their chariots and their horses. They're going after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel look up from their camp and they realize that the Egyptians are coming. Hallelujah. You know, you may have some moments like that in 2021 where something you felt like you had escaped or you had gotten peace about, all of a sudden is resurfacing. And this story should, this narrative, this true reality of God should encourage you. Because they are the children of Israel, and they began to complain to Moses saying, why did you even bring us out of Egypt? We're going to be killed here by the Egyptians. But God had another plan. And so Moses told them to just remain calm, to have faith in God. And God spoke to Moses and said, Moses, get the people moving. You see, Moses was having to move in faith also. He didn't know how God was going to make a way, but he knew that God was going to make a way. And so he got that 600,000, probably more like 1 million people on their feet and moving. And they're moving toward the Red Sea. And they come to that moment where the Egyptians are behind them. The Red Sea is in front of them. There is no path. There is no way. There is nothing. And then God, but God, works a miracle. He makes a way out of no way. He makes a way through the middle of the Red Sea. And he causes the waters to roll up on each side. He allows the wind to blow through the night. And the children of Israel crossed through, not on soggy land, but on dry land. They crossed through to the other side. That's what's going to happen to you in 2021. No matter what difficulty you run into, God is going to provide a Red Sea crossing moment for you, where you're able to, because of your faith, because of standing strong in the Lord, because you believe in miracles, have faith, believe God for the miracle. And God will make a way out of no way. So there's no reason to be afraid. There's no reason to be fearful. But we can step into this new year saying that our faith is going to carry us through. When you look in the book of Hebrews, the 11th chapter, verses 1 through 2, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. You know, faith is substantive. Faith begins to cover you. It begins to coat you. When you believe in who God is and the character of God is a good God, the Lord is our shepherd. We shall not want. The Lord is our supplier. He will supply all of our needs according to his riches and glory. When you begin to speak the word of faith and you begin to believe what God has said and believe the character of God, it becomes substance in your life. It begins to coat your eyes, and so it changes the way that you see things. It begins to coat your ears. It begins to change the way that you hear things. It begins to coat your mind. It begins to change the way that you think about things. Faith becomes substantive. It is a substance that begins to cover every area of your life. It begins to cover your feet so that you're able to walk out in faith in God. It begins to cover your heart and take off the woundedness and the discouragement so that you're able to move forward. Faith is substantive. It is the substance of things hoped for, and it is the evidence. Evidence. It means that it is reality. It becomes the evidence when someone says, how can you believe that? I can believe that because I have faith, and my faith is evidence. I remember a great message from Kent Christmas during this season, a prophetic message. And he was saying that the Lord encouraged him in that way in saying, I've already given you confirmation. I've given you evidence. And that evidence is your own faith. You see, faith comes to us supernaturally. It comes to us as a result of believing in God. It comes to us from a supernatural realm. And when we grab a hold of that faith, it becomes evidence. It becomes our reason and our reality. It begins to move us from being just ordinary people who can only see what's in front of us. And we begin to see through the eyes of faith so that we can see into the supernatural. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. So faith allows us to be able to see things that have not happened yet. We begin to see our healing because we know that our God is a healer. Amen. And our faith becomes our evidence such that we're able to see past where we are into the supernatural and see the future that God has for us. It begins to change everything about us. And so I encourage you in 2021 to hold on to your faith, to realize that God really is a miracle working God. He's worked miracles for you in 2020 and before. And he has not changed. He is the same God yesterday, today, forever. He is the miracle worker. And so I hope that word has encouraged you. be coated and covered with the substance of faith. Begin to see, begin to hear, begin to move in faith, and realize that faith shapes your world and it shapes your reality. God bless you and God keep you. Happy New Year!